Hi, this is Greg McCoach, editor of the Mining Speculator. We're here at the September Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver, Canada. And today I'm interviewing Brad Rourke, President and CEO of Scottie Resources. Brad?
Greg, nice to see you again.
Always good. Always good to see you. And we've been at this now for a long time, right, with Scottie?
My very first presentation, my very first interview was with you in 2019.
Yeah. And look what's happened. You know, we've even in a difficult market, I want to give you kudos because you're one of the guys that you've slogged through the worst of the worst, right? And you're coming out on top and you're getting the attention of major investors, you know?
Yeah, we've been, it is a slog, and I was not prepared for how hard this is, but you know, we've been at it for a while and we've been lucky. I mean, without Thomas, I'd be nowhere. Yeah. Right? Pretty smart guy, but yeah, we just keep pushing along and waiting for, you know, I haven't lost enthusiasm for you and I see things a lot alike but yeah, it's been a grind.
Yep. And we're always hopeful. We know the market's going to turn. It's just, when is that happening? And, you know, we were both just up at Beaver Creek and we saw you were packed with meetings, right? And I saw the same. You know, the companies were really busy with the fund managers. There's an appetite there. They see what's coming. We can see what's coming. We didn't think it was going to take this long, but here we are.
Correct. And, you know, we can never get the timing right. Yeah. But I mean, a thesis is, and what we've seen in the future, you know, even when we were speaking years ago. Yeah. Things are happening the way that we anticipated. And the fear part's, I think, happening at the top. We don't need to get into a macro conversation, but there's a lot of good stories that have done well in the last 8 months, the bigger. Absolutely. But when greed hits and that stuff starts trickling down, we're going to be in good shape. I think the industry, Scottie, and a whole bunch of other great stories out there. Yeah.
Well, before we even get started on particulars, I think that the biggest plug for you is the major investors that have put money. I mean, these are the smartest people in our sector. And let's name some of those, okay? Aaron Sprott.
Sure. So, I mean, if we just take 2024, I think 3 really great things happened for Scottie. It started off with Michael Gray. Wrote a nice 11-page piece on Scottie, and then you know Ross Beatty came in and he owns about 5% of the company now. Wow. And then Franco-Nevada gave us just under $10 million in April, and as far as we know, that we're the only pre-resource company they've ever given money to. Wow. So, but what that does is just validates the good work that our team's been doing, and yeah, it's kind of been slow and steady, and you know we're sideways. We haven't really lost money, but you know, I think attracting those, I get advice and you know, there's a lot of encouraging communication between some of these bigger names. And you're right, Eric Sprott, and there's a bunch of names.
And that's the greatest endorsement you can have. I can't say anything more. I guess that just says, it makes a huge statement. Okay, so you're at a very low price.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, probably 17 cents at the moment, which would be about before when you and I first met. I think that was the price of that very first financing. And I can say from a private placement point of view is anyone can buy stock cheaper than all these great names. I mean, even myself, I mean, when I took this company over, it was about $600,000 market cap, 5 cents. But I mean, my ACB, because I bought all my shares, I think is around 14 cents anyways. So, yeah, the ability to buy this after about, we're going to be a total about 70,000 meters drilled now in 6 years, and very successful drilling.
Very successful, So I noticed it's now called the Scottie Mine Project, and now we have all these different zones, right? And of course, the most successful zone so far seems to be the Blueberry Zone. Correct. And so let's talk about that. We've been hitting mineralization. You're open at depth. You're open, and you know, lots of possibilities.
So this year, one of the goals that we're working towards is perhaps come out with a resource in Q1, maybe Q2, and we still assays are actually never been a problem for me. But this year, it's slower, right? We don't have enough to even put a news release yet, but I'm sure soon. But yeah, that Blueberry contact zone is, you know, so we put about 4,000 meters over 10,000 meters there. But all in the hopes of putting a resource. And we'd be targeting, you know, 1 million ounces for the initial resource. But I mean, we're comfortable saying that we're targeting 2 million ounces right now. And, you know, we can look at all the videos. I've only ever said, you know, pathway to 1 million. And, you know, so we'll see soon. No more arm waving.
The assays will tell the story.
That's right.
They'll tell the story. But, you know, assays from the last couple of years in particular have really provided you can see the signatures getting bigger, right?
Mhm.
And it's high grade. It's what the investors want.
It's on surface, and more importantly, it's on surface.
Yeah.
So it's easy. You know, it's quite frankly, it's not the resource I'm interested. I want to do the economics. But
Right.
you got to do the
Yeah.
resource first. But
Yeah.
because when we see, you know, I'm not a mining engineer, but I mean, it starts on surface. You're not going underground for 1 ounce material
Right.
that's on the road. So the economics for that ore should be good. And then we've also went back to Scottie this year, and we probably drilled more holes than we ever have because we want to include that in our resource. But there's no rock to look at, like, because it was all
Right.
mined out. So, you know, the
Right.
rules be, and you have these independent people doing this work for you. So we, you know, I think there's 14 holes we put into Scottie this year.
That's
But
good.
we think that'll help with it when we put the resource. Because, I mean, there's, you know, it used to be a half ounce per ton at a 10-gram cutoff.
Right.
So it could be it'll be meaningful to us to include that with the blueberry.
Right.
Right.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just exciting because, you know, from when you get up in the Golden Triangle, and I've been up there many times, infrastructure is an issue. But for you, it's not so much because when the Scottie mine was in production, they put a lot of the infrastructure in, and it's significant.
It is. There's 7 kilometers underground workings, very competent rock. So you're at ore, because they just shut down at ore when it shut down. The Bruce Jack power line is right on the property
Right.
border. You can see it. I mean, it's literally couldn't be closer to the entrance of the mine. Roads, town of Stewart, deep water shipping. We're
Yeah.
blessed because you're right. The Golden Triangle is
Oh,
wonderful, but there's a lot of difficult situations where we just kind of run a brownfield site, permitted mine, and you know, we've accumulated all these lands over the years, and so we think we've, you know, we're just what that means is that we got cheaper drill costs.
right. That's
Right, so
great.
there's just more holes going straws into the ground, and,
Yeah.
and which means more chances of building something meaningful or just cheaper for the shareholders.
And that's what attracted me. You attracted me as the person running the company when I first got involved with Scottie, but it was the infrastructure and the surrounding big deep pocket partners that might be able to, you know, want to consume you.
Yeah, well, this is, I thought it was going to come a lot sooner than it has, but for whatever reason, you know, we're in a very interesting situation because my neighbor's been bought twice.
Right.
Freedom was bought by Newcrest, then
Right.
Newmont, then you see Signat has got $1 billion.
Right.
You know, I was part of the SK Creek staking rush, you know, slept 100 days at Snip Mine on Bronson Slope. But I've never seen, even when and that was hot times, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
SK Creek staking
Oh, yeah.
rush. But there's been more money put into this area in the last 5-6 years.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of because nobody cares and the sentiment in the market is what it is. People, and there's like $7 billion. So for an investor, you should feel comfortable that no one's packing up tent and going to the new hottest area.
No.
Right? You see, like, you can't just go stake land in the Golden
No,
Triangle
they're committed
anymore.
like you. They're committed. So that's a great story. And so, you know, we only get 10 minutes for these interviews. We could talk on and on here, but come visit Brad at his booth, on his website. You know, it's an exceptional opportunity at current prices, given that, you know, we believe that the market is about to turn. And with that, Brad, great interview as always.
Greg, it's a pleasure seeing you.
Thanks.